Hi, Mom.
Hi, Robin.
How are you today?
Really good. How are you?
Good. Are you ready to talk about your life past?
Sure.
What year did you meet Danny?
1971.
And then you met him in May, right, of that year?
We knew each other earlier, but we had our first date in May because we were in the same high school.
Right. And then it was that summer, so that following July, that he was writing you those letters from the camp in, where was the camp? In
Monticello, New York, or Catskills.
Cool. It was a long time ago, and so you obviously don't remember very specifically, but you wrote to each other a lot.
Yes.
Right. But he wrote to you like once every like 3 days or so. And so you probably got a letter from him like every day, right?
Yeah, the way the mail.
And you remember.
It took 5 days, basically.
Right, it was 5-day mail. So
About.
but you were getting the letters more, you were getting letters frequently, but you were getting them at a delay, right?
That's right.
So like all the information was like 5 days old that you were getting from it, which is so interesting because today when we communicate with each other, it's almost instantaneous. So I basically just wanted to ask you about like how the way that we communicate with each other today is just so vastly different than the way that you communicated with Danny, just by the nature of the technology that we communicate with, right? You text me mostly. Do you call your friends still?
I have friends that call that want to take the phone calls. A lot of people don't want to take phone calls.
Yeah.
Anymore, and they just want to text. So that if I get a text, they text back. Although sometimes I want to call back because I like the telephone, honestly. But
yeah, you like the telephone, and I hate talking on the phone.
I got to realize someone like your Aunt Rhoda, my sister, doesn't want a phone call.
Right.
And I have some people that call because we really need to call, but it becomes, I don't know, they become long phone calls.
Yeah, no, definitely.
People need to talk sometimes.
Yeah, so that act of calling, on that communication on the phone is much more like cathartic for some people, which is like very similar to the way that like letter writing was. No, sitting down to write a letter is so different than texting somebody because the voice is different. It's more stream of consciousness. Can you just talk about that a little bit? How like the motivation is different from writing a letter, how you were saying, like, Danny was just kind of telling you what he was doing, and he would often say things like, oh, I don't want to stop writing, but I have to. And why? Like, when we send text messages, we don't actually care about the language that we're using to evoke a sense of tone or voice, right? But it's...
Can I make an analogy?
Yes, you can make an analogy.
My husband, your father, travels to China and different places, and I pack a note in his briefcase every time he travels. And he gets it, like when he gets to China. And he just started texting the last year or two.
Yeah, and
Dad, he keeps all of his letters. He likes getting the note because it's a good feeling and it's physical and you have it, even though you could read back your texts. And I do read back texts, and there are photos and texts.
But there is a different voice that comes through, right? When Danny, in many of the letters, like Danny is, he's mostly just like he's writing like he'd be talking to you. Ugh, you're frozen. Mom! Oh, you froze. You're back.
We're back.
I'm going to put that part in and be like, glitches of 2015 technology.
There's no other way for us to communicate.
I know. I'm just like...
But, yes, he wanted to tell me everything he was doing. And I would probably write back and say, look, I went to the beach today, and I went to the movies tonight. I saw this friend and that friend. I'm going to a concert.
But there was a way that I'm going to ask you. I'm just going to just one more question.
Okay.
Because I know it's 5:20.
Can I tell you something though? Really, when I used to write letters, and even today when I write letters, I make mistakes, and you might understand this because you're similar. Like I would write something and I would make a mistake and I'd rip it up and I would waste so much stationery.
I do the same thing.
So I do the exact thing is I wanted it to be, I would waste stationery or paper, and I would rip it up so you have so much time to think about it. I could hear his voice or his phrasing. People have a certain way they phrase. You can hear that sense of humor through it, or he liked to make, write a signature. You get to know the handwriting. But honestly, I hear that in texts too. I hear people.
But there is a way that someone's text, I find rather that there's a way that I have a different voice when I text than when I write, and like I'm a writer.
But I still send physical like cards to people.
Yeah, but like
I'm doing e-cards lately.
Mm-hmm.
But I do send cards, and I like to.
There just is like because you're using fewer characters and it's multimedia.
But there's something funny that I have because like I say hi when I start a text. I don't just do.
There's of course there's some similar. Your voice and your sense of person still comes through, but the way in today that we micro analyze the way that we send text messages. Like I just read a funny article being like, if you put a period at the end of a text, then you're automatically an asshole. If someone texts you back saying hi, and if someone texts you saying hi, it sounds different in your head than if someone texted you hi. Period. Your voice just comes through differently.
Funny how it's
evolving, yeah.
Evolving, that's the word.
Anyway, I love you.
I love you. You say, what are you doing tonight? Going out?
Yeah.
It's a nice sweater. Where'd you get that? Is that new or thrift shop?
It's Emma's.
Oh, it's Emma's? Did you ever wear the sweater I bought you, that Theory sweater?
Yeah, I have it. Okay, I gotta go. I gotta love you, though.